Hello, guys. Welcome to another live feed. This is Lydia, the lifestyle coach. And what we are doing here is we are ending eating disorders using nothing but your brain. So that means any sort of disordered doing or thinking with food, right? If you're thinking about food all day long and it's just this constant obsession, or if this is something where you feel a compulsion to eat more than you feel like is good for you, if you feel a drive to eat when you're not hungry but you still feel this compulsion, when there's more left on your plate and you feel like you should be done but then you just keep going, if you feel like you're healthy all day and then once it gets to be the evening and the kids are in bed, then you're just going and you're feeling this drive and you're even losing sleep because you're staying up and eating food. If it's more of a graze binge all day long where you just go back and back and back to the kitchen for a little bit more and a little bit more, all of those things are disordered relationships with food. And what you want to just ask is, if you had the same relationship with food that you do today for the next 20 years, what does that do to your opportunities? What does that do to your health? What does that do to your concept of yourself? Is that sustainable? Is that something that would give you a better life or a worse life if you ate exactly how you did in this past month for the rest of your life? And that's really that question of like, okay, do you have a relationship with food that is not serving you? And if so, then you are in the right place, because that's exactly what we're doing, using nothing but your brain to just be able to have this calm and this peace and to step into normal eating. Effortless, normal eating, like breathing or sleeping or all the things that our bodies just naturally do. Eating is as simple as those things, but we really overcomplicate them. So fun to see you guys on. Hello and welcome to another live feed. So I wanted to pop on here because this is something that comes up all the time. It's a really important question. I just talked to a woman the other day that, she came to us and she just said, Lydia, I finally feel like I have a better relationship with food. I finally feel like my brain is calmed down. I've been working so hard on this. But in the process of doing that, I've rapidly gained 50 pounds and now I'm struggling with health issues. She's like, there has to be a better way. There has to be a better way than just being completely out of control and feeling no structure, but then finally having that mental peace. Like, why do I have to give up my physical health to have mental peace? And the truth is that you guys don't, but this is a very common trap that people fall into. So we're going to talk about this question today of like, okay, well, if dieting doesn't work, should I just eat all of my trigger foods? Should I just go and buy them all and bring them into the house and be exposed, to them and just make everything legal and not have any structure? Like, is that the way to do it? And if you have tried this, you probably know exactly how it works. You may feel like something is missing for you. So I'm glad that you're here because we're going to break this down of exactly how this works to be able to get out of two ways to lose, right? It's not like, okay, well, do I give up my physical health to try to be calm around food? Am I just gonna, okay, well, fine. If I gain 100 pounds and, if I just have diabetes, I guess that's the way that it has to be if I'm going to be allowing with food. Or, well, do I have to be on a diet for the rest of my life and restricting because I'm just so out of control of food? Both of those things you lose. Both of those things you are unhealthy and obsessing about food all the time and suffering every day of your life. You don't have to pick between these two awful things. There is a better way. So we're going to talk about that today. Hi, guys. So fun to see you on. Feel free to comment with, questions or anything on your mind and, sharing your experience with if this is something that you've experienced yourself. So we're going to go a little bit about through what happens. So you start out with you're eating out of control. You don't feel good about the way that you're eating. You're asking yourself questions like, why did I do that? Why did I eat that? Why am I doing this? I know better. Even though I know better, why is it that I'm still doing this? And you just feel totally out of control. And so you realize, okay, well, like everything else that you've done in your life, you need some structure. You need a plan. You need a way to be able to make this better. And so you're like, okay, I just need to put some rules into place. Like, I just need to give myself some boundaries. And so easy way to do that, you go on a diet, right? And you don't even call it a diet this time. You call it a lifestyle change because you're just really putting some healthy boundaries in your life, or at least that's what you're telling yourself. And you're just going to, do this lifestyle change. It's going to put some structure in your life. And then you have this set of rules and you fall off the wagon. You break one of those rules. You're not able to stick with it. And so you're okay, all right, I'll just try again. And the thing that happens over time, and sometimes quickly, is that you're all in and you stick to this set of rules for maybe 6 months, maybe 3 months. But then when you fall off the wagon, it's harder and harder every time you try to climb back on. The first time it was the easiest time to be able to keep all these rules and stay on your diet, but then it increasingly gets harder and harder. And that window of when you can stay within those rules and boundaries gets shorter and shorter, and it really starts scaring you. And in fact, you're really smart. And so you notice this pattern, you notice the very moment you decide to cut something out of the foods that you eat, then that ends up being the very thing that you want. That ends up being the very thing that you're craving. And so, like that time that you decided when, okay, chocolate is my trigger food. I cannot have chocolate around. It's not okay. And then when you decide to cut it out, the very moment you're like, okay, if this is really a problem, I've got to stop with the chocolate. I've got to not have it. And you binged on chocolate. And you start asking yourself why in the moment when I know that this is not good for me, when this doesn't serve me, when this is something that I feel out of control around, do I binge on that very thing? And so because we're intelligent and we see this pattern, then we do what we think that we need. And we create even more restriction. Okay, well, if I can't stick to that plan, well, then I need, I need more rules, right? And so we go on even more restrictive diets. And in fact, we don't even try to cut chocolate out of our day. We try to keep chocolate out of our life. You say, okay, I can't even buy it now. I can't even bring it home from the store. Like, I've got to get it out of the house. But then because you live in a world that's full of chocolate, you keep on running into this trigger food, this food that you feel so out of control about. And then you feel like an even bigger failure because you're going on chocolate runs to the store. You're literally taking special trips to go and get the very food that you told yourself that you will never eat again and that you'll keep out of the house. Hey guys, love these comments. They're so important. You guys are saying, this is me. I'm falling off the wagon. Yeah, this absolute pattern of like, okay, well, screw it. I've already broken these rules, right? I'm already off the wagon. I might as well just have all the rest because, again, I'm never going to have the chocolate again. You throw it all out of the house, and then you're going at 10 p.m. and you're going to take a special run to the store to get those very foods to binge on, all the while telling yourself that you're never going to do this again. And every single time that you go round and round in this cycle, it gets worse and worse and worse. And what you don't know in the background is the physical damage that it's doing, is the mental damage that you're doing, really wiring this habit into your brain. And so you go to this place where mentally, like, your dream vacation is to find some way that you could just justify having a day where you allow yourself chocolate. Like, the drive for this has just gone really just intense. Chocolate is the thing that's on your mind. Chocolate is the thing that you're trying to avoid. Chocolate is the thing that would be the best thing ever. And you're still really smart. Just like you have been your whole life. You've been a smart person and you've been hardworking and you're determined to figure this out. And so as you see this pattern happening, you realize that, oh, okay, so this restriction, it seems like it makes it even worse. It seems like this is something where every time that I tell myself not to have it, the more extreme that I get, the more that I want it. And so because you're so determined to figure this out, you realize that, okay, when I deprive it, then I want it even more. So you've got to do something new. All right. And you're putting the pieces together and you read some blog posts and you start looking for information, and it's pretty terrifying, but you realize that what has to happen is that you can't restrict anymore. That has always made it worse. For 25 years, it's made it worse. So you're going to do something really scary, and you're going to do the thing that you think is probably your answer, which is to legalize these foods. Is to take them off your do not eat list, because that's only made it worse. And you're like, okay, this is my answer. And so you go to this scary place where you're like, okay, there's nothing on the bad list. I can eat chocolate. I can eat bread. In fact, I can eat bread and chocolate together. I can spread chocolate on bread, and I'm going to let myself do that. Because every time that I tell myself not to, I end up binging on those things. And it's terrifying at first. And you are binging on those things at first, but you're holding steady. You're knowing that you're trying to do something for your brain. You're trying to do something new. You know what doesn't work, and your brain actually starts calming down. And you're not thinking about chocolate all the time. And you're like, wow, this actually feels different. This actually feels new. And then anytime that you have a craving, you just know you have to have it right away. You become like this crazy pregnant woman that has these cravings, and as soon as she has them, she just has to have them right away. So if you want chocolate, you have it right away. And if you want bread, you have it right away. And if you want more bread in the bread basket, then you just keep going, because you know now you have to have it. You have to have it or you're going to binge on it. But as long as you just go right to that place of anytime you have a craving for anything, then you go ahead and you have as much as you want of it, and everything is legalized and there's no limit on anything. And so you always say yes. And you do see a mental change, but you also see a physical change. And because every time that you crave something, you know that you have to have it or you binge on it, then your clothes are getting tighter, and your pants are getting more uncomfortable, and you're having to wear more and more stretchy things, and you're trying to hide your body more. You're like, okay, I've got to do this. I've got to do this for my brain. And you're determined this is going to be your answer, because you find out that as long as you say yes, every time that you want the chocolate, then you're not binging on chocolate. And isn't that better? Isn't that better than binging if you just have it right away? And so you keep on saying yes. And then you go to the doctor. And the doctor gives you a diagnosis of now you're pre-diabetic, because you've been on a steady stream of chocolate and bread and carbohydrates and sugar every single day, because that's how often you want those things, is every single day. And you freak out and you feel scared, and you step on the scale and you realize you've gained 30 pounds. You have gained 30 pounds so rapidly, and now you have a diagnosis and you're in a tailspin, and you realize that you cannot do this anymore. You cannot keep having the chocolate. Now the chocolate isn't just something you feel out of control around and that you're trying to calm down your brain around. Now chocolate is your death sentence, and you realize that you cannot have it anymore. And in that moment that you know that you can't have it anymore, you binge on chocolate. So now you're binging again, and you're the heaviest that you've ever been in your life, and you're about to be diabetic. But you also know that you can't restrict, because that makes you binge. And you know that you can't legalize food because it's ending your health. So it's lose-lose. Well, I either have the things that I'm craving so that I'm trying to not be crazy, or I have the things that I'm craving and now I'm going to be diabetic. So what do you choose? Pick your poison. And you just think there must be a better way. And I want you guys to know there absolutely is a better way. And we have shown that to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of women that we have freed from this cycle. You don't have to kill yourself with diabetes and cancer, and you also don't have to live on a diet for the rest of your life, because neither one of those things works. There is a better way. So we have two camps of people who come to us, you guys. The first camp is those who are still trying to restrict. They're still picking that poison of like, well, I can't, I'm out of control with food. I have to restrict. I have to be on a diet. And then we have the other camp. The second camp is those who are knowing that they can't restrict, and they're rapidly gaining weight because they're feeling like they have to eat everything that they're craving. So here is the issue and how to solve it. There are two kinds of allowing. There is mental allowing and there is physical allowing. And when we just have the physical allowing of like, okay, well, as soon as I crave something, then I have to have it, then you're captive because you're still in a have to. I can't have the chocolate and I have to have the chocolate still takes, either one of those that you pick, takes your power away all the way. And that's exactly what it does. And so you have to find a way to be able to have that power so that you're not trapped in this have to, right? So, and that's why you're still struggling, is because you don't have those things in combination, and knowing how to do it for you is so important because it is not intuitive. What we do, everything we do is based off of the data of what actually works. And it turns out that what actually works to remove that mental and physical restriction so that you can just have that peace and you can end the disordered eating is really counterintuitive. But it surprises people how quickly it works. So what our clients learn in the first 2 weeks of our coaching is how to do both. How to end the physical and the mental restriction so that you're in a true allowing place. And when you do it right, you're in control. It's not I have to eat this or I can't eat this. So for instance, there was a woman who came to us. She thought that she was a complete sugar addict because every time that she had a little bit of sugar, she just had a ton of sugar. And it just went into a binge. So she just realized for herself, well, I must be a sugar addict. She felt completely out of control. And the only thing that helped her was to just allow sugar, because she knew the restriction wasn't working, but she still felt like a sugar addict, but she had to allow it. And when she knew that she shouldn't have sugar all the time, so she took away the restriction. There are lots of pieces here. So she took away the restriction and she's like, okay, I'm just going to allow myself to have sugar. But then she felt horrible. She had no energy because she was eating all sugar all the time. She was rapidly gaining weight. And so she was in that place, right? Whereas, okay, well, she went from the restrictive place to now I have to allow, and either way she was losing. So when she came to us the second week of us coaching her, she realized that when she had the combination of both, the cravings for the sugar every single day, and I have to have it and I have to act on that craving, the cravings at their root went away. And she knew exactly in the moment how to just melt away those cravings so that she wasn't trying to allow sugar as a sugar addict. She just didn't feel like a sugar addict anymore. And she didn't have those cravings anymore. And she knew that she could have sugar. Of course she could have sugar, but she just didn't have the desire to have sugar all the time because she had the right things in combination. It's this, you know that you can, but you also don't have to. And so we have so many women that come to us and they're just like, okay, I know that I can't have it, but now I also know how to just be able to not want it because I know that I can have it. And they've stepped into this combination of exactly what they need to let their brain relax with food and to let their cravings relax so that they don't feel driven all the time to have these things. And nothing is as sustainable as doing what you want, you guys. So when your desires at the desire level are at this place where you just don't have those cravings, you just don't have that out of control feeling, then you can do what you want. You can have a cookie and then you can just move on with your life. Or you can choose to not have the cookie because you don't really want the cookie. Like, it just becomes very simple when you end it at its root. And what she found out was that she wasn't a sugar addict and she never was all along. She was just teaching her brain, and she was in a cycle that literally was teaching her brain how to act like she was an addict around sugar. So when you get this at its root, it goes away and you can just move into that normal eating place. There are plenty of people that are all over the world that don't struggle with food, and they're not caught up in the cycle. They're not teaching their brains how to act like they're addicted to sugar, and they can have dessert or they cannot have dessert. And it's not a big deal either way because their brain is in a place where it's in touch with its natural hunger and fullness signals, where it's in touch with just regular cravings that aren't driven up by all of these factors that we put in place that makes it feel so much harder. And if this is something that you guys are in the cycle of, and if this is something where you guys feel really stuck in this, then there is help and there is hope out there. I mean, this is what we do. This is what we're the best in the world at what we do, of just simply ending this disordered relationship with food. And you can start out, and the best place to start is just to book a free session with us. You can go to lifewithlydia.com/apply. Again, that's lifewithlydia.com/apply. And what we're going to help you do is get the foundation of freedom, because we've both got to be absolutely clear on exactly what is happening for you so that we know the missing pieces. This is not a one size fits all. If this was something that I could just make a video for you guys and do and say, hey, do these things and you'll be free, I would have done that already. But you are an individual. And so we are willing to take that time to sit down with you to see exactly what's happening so that we can know the missing pieces to get you free. And if we can get you to that place where you are free and done and you don't have those cravings for the rest of your life and you can just calm down around food, we will show you how. Or if there's something else that's going to serve you better, we'll also be able to know where to direct you from there. It's as simple as that. But we are willing to do that because we don't want anyone to have to struggle and suffer with this. I used to be in absolute agony every single day, waking up literally not knowing how I was going to eat that day. Was it going to be a good day or a bad day? Was I going to binge or not binge? I felt completely powerless. And now there's no question. I know that there will be no food emergencies today. I know that everything will be fine. And I know that that's just the way it's going to be for the rest of my life because I've been able to fundamentally change my brain. But it's not just about what I've done because I'm just one person. This is about the principles that we have refined and perfected through literally thousands of experiences. It's just about putting in the pieces that you need for you. So again, you can go to lifewithlydia.com/apply and book a free session with us, and we're happy to help you with this. And so fun to see you guys here. Oh my gosh, this is so fun to see all of your amazing comments. Thank you so much for being on and all your amazing contributions. And pop in for another live feed. We have a new video at lydiavideo.com every week. And so fun to see you guys on. Mwah. This is signing off, Lydia, the Lifestyle Coach. Bye, guys.